Sup guys, it's Alex here, and welcome to another edition of the Bracketology update. This one is for February 22nd, as you can see right there. But before I get started, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the support you've been giving me. I hit 2,000 subscribers this week. Man, I'm so excited. I did the giveaway, or I'm going to be doing the NCAA tournament ticket giveaway. More details on that are in a video that I just posted, but also will be in the description on how to enter and stuff like that. You got to follow me on Instagram. Send me a screenshot of you being subscribed, and then tell me your favorite team and the NCAA tournament location that is closest to you. If you do that, you'll be entered into the NCAA tournament ticket giveaway. I'll be making the video, I think like March 15th, I said, something like that. I'll be doing a random drawing for one lucky subscriber to go to the NCAA tournament. I'll be giving them a ticket, and I'll tell you what, if I get to 2,500 subscribers by March 15th or whatever it is, I'll give away 2 NCAA tournament tickets. I'll do another name in the drawing, and I'll send 2 people to the tournament. It'll just be like one subscriber will be going somewhere and another one will be going somewhere else, but I'll be doing 2 as another reward for your guys' support. Also, I just hit 1 million total views on my channel last night. That was absolutely crazy. I posted about it on Instagram too. It's just crazy to me to think I made this channel in 2011, and my first video was like a Scott Speed NASCAR glitch. It was absolutely awful. My voice was so high pitched and stuff like that. It was absolutely hilarious. It has like 100 and something views, but it's crazy that my channel has grown to the point where it is now with over 1 million. As you can see right there, in the last like 3 days or so, I've gained almost like 45,000 views in the last 3 days, pushing me over 1 million, and my subscriber growth has been crazy as well. So thank you guys for all the love and support. I know this is a little bit of a 2-minute plug or whatever, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the bracketology. In the East Regional right here, there's not a whole lot of movement. Maryland is now up to a 5 after going on the road and beating Iowa. Temple and Butler are their playing game right there. Virginia Tech is now down to a 6. That was just because Maryland was able to move up, and they're a bit more impressive than Virginia Tech's been recently. Over here in Louisville, I will be going to the Virginia-Louisville game tomorrow, and I most likely will be vlogging. I'll be in the same section as I'll be for the NCAA tournament, but I'll be in the first row for the NCAA tournament with the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. But in this game tomorrow, I'll be in like row L or something like that with my $15 student ticket. So there's that. If I make a vlog, just know that the view will be better for the NCAA tournament. I don't know if I'll be vlogging tomorrow. I'll probably try, but the view, I don't know how it'll be. We'll just see what happens with that. But Nevada is now down to a 5 after losing to San Diego State for their second loss of the season. Minnesota and Alabama are the play-in game right there. Villanova's down to 6 after losing their second game in a row to Georgetown. Northern Kentucky's up to 14. Then over here in the Midwest Regional, we have Murray State now up to a 12 seed. Wisconsin's also up to a 4, just like the committee showed in their like mid-season bracketology release, or not bracketology, but you know what I mean, seed listing. Then we have Mississippi State up to a 6 after beating Georgia in a crazy ending where the Georgia fans like threw a stuffed toy on the court, and it resulted in a technical foul, and it's just a really weird situation right there. Then Arizona State's up to an 11. Iowa is now down to a 7. Florida is up to a 10 after getting a huge overtime road win against LSU. Texas State is now down to 15. I think they lost last night. Florida State is now up to a 5, and Seton Hall is down to an 11. Then I'll go ahead and show the bubble right here. Last 4 buyers are Oklahoma, who did get a big road win. I think it was over TCU last week or something like that. Then UCF, who lost last night to Cincinnati, a blown opportunity there. Seton Hall and Arizona, who played their way off the last 4 in, last 4 out thing. Last 4 in, as I mentioned earlier, Temple, Minnesota, Alabama, and Butler. First 4 out are Clemson, who just can't seem to buy themselves a win at this point. And then Utah State, Belmont, and Lipscomb. Lipscomb had the chance for an at-large bid, but they, I don't know. We'll see what happens there. They lost to Florida Gulf Coast last night. I think it was last night. That was a bad win right there. I think it was a quad 4 loss. And then next 4 out are San Francisco, St. Mary's, South Carolina, who's been playing really good in the SEC. They're starting to play their way onto the bubble. And Georgetown, who just got that big win over Villanova, as I mentioned earlier. So as you guys know, if you've been following me in my bracketology updates, and if you haven't, this is a new thing for you. I go on Brackify.com every Tuesday and Friday whenever Joe Lunardi releases the bracketology. I go on there, make an interactive bracket for you guys to go ahead and vote and stuff like that based off of Joe Lunardi's most recent bracketology. The link to vote for this will be in the description, so make sure you check that out as well. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into my picks. First up, we have Duke and Bucknell. I think that one's pretty obvious. We'll go with Duke. Though I can't say that because the #1 overall seed lost to UMBC last year, so you never know what could happen. But I definitely like Duke in that matchup. And before I move on to the Baylor-Wofford game, The update with Zion Williamson. Well, first off, that Zion Williamson video I posted where he committed to Duke has almost 300,000 views, which is absolutely crazy, which over the last couple of days, it's gotten almost 50,000 because I've been stuck around like 225 for a long time, but people are watching that now. A couple of people have been saying it's like appearing in their recommended videos and stuff like that, which is pretty cool to think. But yeah, he got injured against North Carolina. That's why I'm pretty sure that's why they lost by North Carolina. They just got blown out at home with Barack Obama there too. Yeah, Zion's like day to day, so I don't know when he'll be coming back, but he should be back, definitely be back in time for the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament, so Duke shouldn't be too worried there. And as you can see, Joel Lunardi kept them as the #1 overall seed, so he's not too worried about it either. Baylor and Wofford, I know 3 people have voted for Wofford right now. I think they're a really good at-large team. I think a lot of people are underrating them, which I guess I am too because I'm picking Baylor to win that matchup. Maryland, I think, will beat the winner of Temple and Butler, which I think would be Butler. Then we have LSU beating Hofstra. Then Virginia Tech beating VCU. More people are picking VCU in this matchup. I just don't see it. I like Virginia Tech there. Then Marquette will beat Old Dominion. Cincinnati will beat Oklahoma. Cincinnati's only lost like 4 games this season. They've been pretty impressive. One was a bad loss to East Carolina, but I think that one came out like a buzzer beater or something like that. Michigan will beat Loyola Chicago. Gonzaga will beat the winner of Kansas, and Prairie View A&M. Doesn't really matter who wins that one because they'll lose to Gonzaga. And I think that Auburn will beat Ohio State. This is about 2 teams who look really good at the start of the season, but have been falling off since then. Neither team can't buy a good win at this point in the season, though Auburn has a good chance on the road against Kentucky this weekend. We'll see what happens there. But I like Auburn beating Ohio State there. Same with Florida State over New Mexico State. Texas Tech, I think, will beat Yale. Then I'm going to go with, I just don't know here because I don't know about Dean Wade. He just completely changes the Kansas State offense, as you could see in that Iowa State game. He got out with I think it was the Iowa State game where he got out with an injury with like 3 or 4 minutes to go, and whenever he was out, the Kansas State just collapsed without him. So if he's back in time for the tournament, I would pick them to beat Seton Hall here. But as of right now, I don't think he will be, or at least I don't know. So I'm going to go with Seton Hall just because of that uncertainty. I'm going to go with the upset there. Then Houston will beat UC Irvine. I think that Washington will beat NC State, be a good representative for the Pac-12. And Michigan State will beat Montana. Virginia will beat the winner of Norfolk State and St. Francis. Then we have, I'm picking St. John's to beat Ole Miss here. Ole Miss just hasn't been impressing me too much this season. St. John's seems like they can beat the best teams, but they can also, like they swept Marquette and they beat Villanova, but they also lose to Georgetown. I think they got swept by Providence too. And then Nevada will beat the winner of Minnesota and Alabama, which I think would be Minnesota. Iowa State will beat Liberty. And I'm going to go with Villanova beating UCF, though 2 out of 2 people have picked UCF to upset them there. I just don't see it. Purdue will beat Northern Kentucky. Buffalo will beat TCU, and then Kentucky will beat Radford. Then Tennessee will beat the winner will beat Sam Houston State, not the winner of Syracuse with Tyus Battle. And man, I feel bad for Jim Boeheim. He killed somebody on the road. It was a true accident. He's not going to be charged with anything, like the car ended up in the middle of the road after a wreck or something like that. And he tried to swerve to avoid it, but the guy was like standing out in the middle of the road too, and Jim Boeheim just hit him and killed him. But not his fault. Feel bad for him. I don't know if he'll be coaching this weekend against Duke, but prayers up to the Boeheim family and the Jimenez family, I think is the last name of the guy who he killed. Man, it's just a horrible situation there. But they did get the big, huge 20-point win over Louisville this week, so that's why they're doing pretty good. I like them beating Texas there. Then I'm going to go with an upset pick here. I'm going to go with Murray State beating Louisville. Louisville's lost 4 out of their last 6, and they just don't seem disciplined at this point. They've barely been cracking like 60 points. I know in that Duke game they got off to a hot start, but were absolutely cold in the second half. Only beat Clemson by 1 point. They should have lost on that buzzer beater there at the end with the collapse. Then they got blown out by Syracuse. I like John Morant and Murray State here. And Wisconsin will beat Vermont. Mississippi State will beat Arizona State. Then we have Kansas beating South Dakota State, Iowa beating Florida, and then North Carolina beating Texas State. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we got Duke beating Baylor. I think that Nas Reed and LSU and Tremont Waters and stuff like that, they'll beat Bruno Fernando and Maryland. Marquette with Marcus Howard will beat Virginia Tech. Then Michigan will beat Cincinnati, though somebody picked Cincinnati there. I think Gonzaga will beat Auburn. Florida State, I think, will get the victory here against Texas Tech. Texas Tech's defense is really good, but I just don't trust their offense here. I think Florida State's going to win that matchup. Then Houston, I think, will beat Seton Hall. Michigan State will beat Washington. Then Virginia will beat St. John's. I think Iowa State will put, I don't know here. Iowa State's kind of been hot and cold recently. I'm going to go with Nevada here with the 5/4, like minor upset. I don't know if you really want to call that an upset or not. But I like Nevada here with the Martin Twins and Caroline. I know they just lost, but I like them as a 5 seed, which I think is a bit too low for them, but we'll see what happens there. Then I like Purdue over Villanova and Kentucky over Buffalo. Though somebody did pick Buffalo to win that matchup, but I don't know how Reed Travis is, or when Reed Travis is going to come back. He's going to miss the Auburn and Tennessee games, but hopefully he comes back in time for the conference tournament. And then I'm going to go with a huge upset here. I'm going to go with Syracuse. They beat Duke on the road earlier this season. Just had a 20-point win over Louisville, and I think they're emotionally. I think they'll be back in time for the NCAA tournament. And Tennessee has been they had the big win over Gonzaga earlier this season, but recently, since like December, they've only played like one good team, and that was Kentucky. They lost that game. They've been struggling a lot with like lesser teams in the SEC. I'm gonna go with a huge upset here with the 8-1 and Syracuse beating Tennessee. And then I'm gonna go with Ethan Happ and Wisconsin. I think they're just a more complete team than John Morant and Murray State. Kansas will beat Mississippi State, and North Carolina will beat Iowa. Duke will beat LSU to move on to the Elite Eight. Marquette, I think, with their offensive firepower, will beat Michigan. Then we have Gonzaga beating Florida State, and then Michigan State beating Houston. Virginia, I think, will beat Nevada, and Kentucky will beat Purdue with Carson Edwards. Then Syracuse and Wisconsin right here. Syracuse is known to be a huge tournament team. I'm going to pick them to move on to the Elite Eight, just like, I don't know if they moved on. I think they did move on to the Elite Eight last year, but then no, they lost in the Sweet 16 to Duke. But I like them moving on here past Ethan Happ and Wisconsin to the Elite Eight. Then we have North Carolina moving on past Kansas. I think Kansas's run will come to an end right here. I just think they'll be too short-handed. And North Carolina has a lot of momentum on their side right now with that huge road victory over Duke. Then for a spot in the Final Four, we have Duke beating Marquette, Gonzaga beating Michigan State, Kentucky, I think with Reed Travis coming back and P.J. Washington emerging into a National Player of the Year contender, I think that they're going to be a more complete team and have more on offense than Virginia, even though Virginia has a good defense. So does Kentucky. I think in Louisville, which is basically a home game for Kentucky, I like Kentucky moving on and winning that regional. And then Syracuse and North Carolina, battle of the ACC teams right here. I think Syracuse's like mini Cinderella run is going to come to an end. I think North Carolina moves on to the Final Four. Duke and Gonzaga, I know both these Final Four matchups are going to be rematches of matchups from the regular season. I think that Duke avenges their loss to Gonzaga, assuming Zion is back. If he's not back, I'm picking Gonzaga, but with him being day-to-day right now and knowing Zion, he wants to play, I think that Duke, he's going to be back in time for this, and I think Duke gets a victory over Gonzaga. Then Kentucky and North Carolina, assuming Reed Travis is back, I also think that Kentucky will beat North Carolina just like they did earlier this season. I like them moving on here. And then Duke-Kentucky NCAA tournament championship game. They played each other earlier this season in the Champions Classic where Duke won by 34 points. I don't think it's going to happen again this time around, which being the 34 points. I think it'll be more like 5 or 6 points, but I do think that Duke is going to be back, assuming that Zion Williamson is back. If he's not, I think Kentucky will end up playing Gonzaga, and I think Kentucky will win that matchup too. I think Kentucky will win the national championship, and this is not just me being a UK fan, but I think that they're a really good team. They're coming together at the right time. They should be undefeated in the SEC right now if they had played, if that one guy hadn't caught fire in the Alabama game and that offensive interference had been called in that LSU game. But I think Kentucky loses here with Zion being back for Duke. I think Duke wins the national championship. As much as I hate to admit it, but thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Be sure to enter the NCAA tournament ticket giveaway by following the steps in the description. Make sure you click the link in the description for the Bracketology to go ahead and vote and stuff like that. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Remember, if I get to 2,500 subscribers by let's say March 15th, whenever I do the drawing, I will give away 2 NCAA tournament tickets. So that gives you guys more incentives to subscribe and stuff like that. And hopefully I can send another person because I feel bad with there's been over 100 entries so far, and I feel bad just giving away 1 ticket. So hopefully I get to give away 2 and we get to 2,500 by March 15th. It's just another milestone that we can achieve, and we just got to 1 million, so I just wanted to give another thank you to you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all later.